How's it everyone? Ferdi here again, and welcome to session 2 of the I'm a Brand workshop. Just a quick reminder of the competition that we are having during the course of this 3-part series. We have some awesome caps that you guys can win, as well as a grand prize. The person who is excellent in their participation in this workshop, we have a prize worth 1,250 Rand. And it's called the Strength Finder Assessment. The lucky winner will get the opportunity to do a world-class online assessment as well as a 1-hour coaching session conducted by one of our consultants. Just to recap, session 1, we spoke about what you want it to be, who you want it to be, and how you make people feel. These are 3 really important questions when we think about the future. Usually we take the one very seriously, but as explained in the first session, who you want to be and how you make people feel ultimately play a bigger role in the successes that you are dreaming of. So in session 2 we will be focusing on who you want to be, as well as touch on how you make people feel. Because brands ultimately make people feel something. And the most successful brands in the world aren't necessarily always the brands that provide great service, the best product. But the most successful brands in the world are those who can create a connection. And that is what we see for you. We want you to be able to make authentic connections that will benefit your future. So what is a brand comprised out of? Well, brands are more than just face value. A brand is much more than just what you see. If I were to say that I'm a brand, do you think that I am much more than what you see? Of course, what you see is my logo. It is how you recognize me. But I am much more than just what you see. Just like you are much more than what I see. I always use this example. You're driving in your car and suddenly you get the smell of KFC coming through the ventilators. Your hands automatically move the steering wheel to follow that awesome original smell. You see the logo of KFC and drive straight towards it. Get out of your car, go and stand in front of the window and experience the glory of KFC, but you remain outside. My question is, have you really experienced KFC? No, you haven't, because you have to go inside and taste the chicken. And it's exactly the same with us as people. We can look sharp on the outside, we can say all the right things, but ultimately what creates value is not what you see on the outside. Yes, it's very important. We have to look sharp, we have to look smart, we have to look after our bodies. But ultimately our true value is carried on the inside. And we can't experience someone's true value if we are not willing to look a little bit deeper than just what you see on the outside. Then another question arises. What do you have on the inside that no one else has to offer? Because if we as brands want to add value, we need to know what value we carry so that we can give it to everyone around us. So in this session, we want to start stirring your thinking to ask yourself, what is it that I have that ultimately can add value? Because brands need to add value. You need to add value. Any brand, anywhere in the world, needs to add value. If it doesn't add value, it's not necessarily needed. So we must be in pursuit of becoming individuals that add value. But in order for us to do so, we need to understand the value that we carry. So in session 2, we will be focusing on how brands make people feel a certain way. It's going to be a very interactive session, and we will be asking you how certain brands make you feel. Just like session 1, we have created a link. We will ask you to complete the questions on the link. And for practical purposes, we will ask you to open the link and keep it open up until the end of this session. Throughout the session, we will have interactions with particular brands, and then we will ask you to pause the video, go to the link, and answer the questions on that particular brand. So are you ready to go? Let's do this. And we're back. So the first clip that you saw was the most recognizable restaurant called McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the most successful restaurant groups in history. They currently have almost 36,000 outlets across the globe. The company sells 4,500 burgers every minute of every day, with a vision that started in the 1950s by two ordinary brothers in America, was later expanded by a gentleman called Ray Kroc. He went into partnership with the two brothers, and today McDonald's is all over the world. This is an important lesson that we can take out of this. The partnerships that we make is key for our brands to be established not just on a national scale, but on an international scale. So the first question we asked you in the questionnaire was, how does this brand make you feel like? A lot of people will say, wow, I feel happy because it's part of a distant memory in their life. So the experiences, the emotional connection to a particular brand will either always have a positive or a negative effect on us. And it's the same with us as individuals as well. These positive or negative interactions that we have with particular brands is established by the promises that that brand makes to us. So for instance, McDonald's makes a promise of quick service. If they don't deliver on that promise, it will have an emotional effect on us. So we need to know that as individual brands, we are also making promises to those we interact with. And we need to make sure that we live up to the promises that we make, because it will have a positive or a negative emotional effect in those we interact with. The second brand we showed you, guess? It was Mercedes. Mercedes is currently one of the top brands in the world. The brand was established in the late 18th century and started manufacturing cars in the early 19th century. But what really stands out about Mercedes is that Mercedes has built a reputation that will last for another 100 years. Why do I say that? It's because for the last 100 years, Mercedes has committed to making promises, making brand promises, and delivering on those promises. Which means that most people who wants to buy a Mercedes has never even driven one. Just think about it, Mercedes doesn't even have to advertise themselves all over the place. I firmly believe that this is one of the strongest brands currently out there. Why? Because of their consistency. And it teaches us a lesson as well when it comes to developing our personal brands. Consistency is key. A brand, a strong brand, a significant brand is not built overnight. It is built over years and years and sometimes even centuries. So you need to commit to building your brand by making promises and delivering on those promises. The third brand that I showed you was Apple. So Apple is currently the number one brand in the world. Not only the number one brand because of what people think, they are the number one brand when it comes to the moolah. This business was the first business to reach the market capital milestone of $1 trillion. Just to put that into perspective, South Africa has a GDP of 4 trillion rand, where this business is worth 16 trillion rand. So it's not only successful financially, but also in the perception of the people that make use of their products. I'm going to touch on the brand story of Apple in session 3 because I believe they've got a significant story that we can relate back to us as individuals and building and developing a successful brand for the future. So the fourth brand that we showed you was the one and only South Africa. We are a brand, ladies and gentlemen. Collectively, all of us together create the South African brand. And the responsibility of developing the South African brand is in our hands. I truly believe that South Africa can and will be one of the most successful brands in the future. This is the promised land. This is the land of milk and honey. There's so much potential in our country. There are so many opportunities in our country. We just need to see it. Wherever I go, I always say to people that if we want to develop South Africa to be the best brand in the world, each of us will have to become the best brands that we can be. And that is the whole premise of I Am a Brand, is to activate you and to help you commit to developing your brand and making it as successful as it possibly can be, so that our country can be the best brand that it can be. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for session 2. In session 3, we're going to be focusing on the practical side of things. We're going to take you through a branding plan, that when you finish this 3-part series, that you will have a conclusive plan, what your brand stands for, and how you're going to develop it to be not only successful, but also significant. Please also make sure that you complete the rest of the questionnaire in the link, and do press submit once you've done. If you do not press submit, we don't get the results of it. It is your time to roar.